Guard Nick Boyd of San Diego State, formerly of Florida Atlantic on those Dusty May teams that made the run to the Final Four. Nick Boyd will be entering the portal. He is reported by Jamie Shaw. Last year, Boyd averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Had some injury issues kind of earlier in the year, but was able to put together a really solid year for a San Diego State offense that was, for lack of a better term, stinky. Very stinky. But Nick Boyd is a crafty, talented left-handed player, has some wiggle to his game, can knock down shots. Not nothing crazy, but I think he's a player that you could has a lot of experience, has tournament experience at that too. I think he's a guy who has won and has made the tournament, so I don't think you can deny that the kid is a winner. After their loss to North Carolina, Nick Boyd made this statement. He said, "We'll be back." 2 days later, he's in the portal, looking for his next home. And I think that's just kind of the state of college basketball and where we're at. But I guess I'll start with this one. What do you think about Nick Boyd as a player, and then maybe his possible places he could go?
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I mean, if you play at San Diego State, you play defense, right? And you know you'll compete on that end. If you combine that with averaging less than 2 turnovers per game throughout his career, whether it was the 3 years at FAU or at San Diego State, he's also a career better than 34% three-point shooter. Shot 35% this year on nearly 5 attempts. The previous year, 34% on nearly 5 attempts. And then the previous year from that, he shot 40% on 4.5 attempts. So this guy can shoot. He takes care of the basketball and he plays defense. Like, what more can you ask for in a player at this in like today's climate of basketball? So I think he's the perfect type of guy for anybody. He's one of those guys where I don't think you have to worry about fit. If you're a coach, he will fit what you want to run no matter what, which is why I think he can play pretty much anywhere. I think it kind of depends on the role he's looking for. If he's trying to continue as a starting point guard, I think you're talking about I mean, to be honest with you, San Diego State was probably the perfect spot for him. But I think you're talking about those high end mid major teams or like a low end Power Five team. We just did a short earlier on Kasparis and his NBA possibility, which led me down a rabbit hole in mock drafts to where I found Bennett Sturts is on one of them.
Mhm.
If he does go to the NBA, he could play the Bennett Sturts role for Ben McCollum. And I could see that being like a very similar, I don't know if he's quite Bennett Sturts, but it's a similar role to what Bennett was able to do. So I see those lower end Power Five schools are a high end mid major.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that's very interesting to think about what his kind of intentions are, right? Because he was a major piece, but he was kind of more of an afterthought-ish guy on that FAU team. Not an afterthought in a way where like he just wasn't the number one guy, right? He wasn't like the go-to guard in that situation. There was other guys on that team that kind of took charge. And for Nick Boyd, he kind of had that bigger role at San Diego State. And you can look at this one or two ways. Either one, he just wants to go to a better system that's just not maybe so defensive oriented, maybe, or he's just kind of, wanted to move on from San Diego State. Also, to me, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. If you want to add Nick Boyd to like a high-end program, you can do that. Like, imagine if Nick Boyd's your second point guard. Like, not to say he's like just a backup level player, but if you put him on a team and he's the guy that you bring off the bench to be with the second unit, you have a guy that can score, can check, can pass. And like I could see a high end like coach bringing a guy like that off the bench and feeling like amazing about it, right? Now obviously there's a connection with Dusty. I don't know if Michigan's in the need for one of those. Obviously, they have Trey Donaldson coming back, but they did lack a little bit of guard depth last year. I don't know if he didn't pick to go there the first time. I don't know if he's going to do it the second time around. He's from New York, so obviously you got to think maybe some of those East Coast schools will possibly be in the running for him. Um, I think it's going to be some pretty big schools that go after him. He did visit Louisville last year when he was in the portal. Like they're losing Chucky Hepburn. Maybe he wants to go be the point guard for Pat Kelsey. That could be a fit. But there's no list for him yet. But are there any other schools you could see Nick Boyd possibly be want to go to or be good at?
The moment you said New York, I like got a little excited. You can't tell me like a San Diego State point guard that can shoot isn't a Patino guy.
That's I could very much see that happen. He could check, he could pass. He's a winner. He plays hard. That could definitely be a place that he could go. Also, you pointed this out, but it is kind of funny. Nick Boyd is the biggest advocate for all his other teammates entering the portal as well.
Yeah, like one of his other teammates entered the portal. Like Nick Boyd had a very small tweet about him entering the portal. His other teammate entered the portal with a highlight tape. Nick Boyd retweets it talking about "Let's go camo." This one which is insane. I'm pretty sure this whole San Diego State roster is in the portal. By the way, I don't know what happened after that North Carolina game, but they did not enjoy whatever RJ Davis did.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next year. I'm sure Patino will give him a call. We'll follow his recruitment along this way, but I think you're getting a player that can win, check, and do a lot of things at a really good level. So I think he'll be a hot commodity in the portal. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.